Hi everyone, and welcome back to the 4th episode of Mammal Monday. Last week we covered the marine mammal of Georgia, but this week we're going to be covering the land mammal of Georgia, the white-tailed deer. So let's get started. The white-tailed deer, or Odocoileus virginianus, gets its name due to the underside of its tail being white. When a predator walks by and the deer are within a herd, one will flash its white tail to give a warning signal to the rest to be on high alert. White-tailed deer are habitat generalists and are found all the way from the south of Canada to the north of South America. Not only are they the state mammal of Georgia, but they're also the state mammal of Arkansas, Illinois, Michigan, Mississippi, New Hampshire, Ohio, Pennsylvania, South Carolina, and Wisconsin. Some of our younger hunters may not remember this, but there was actually a time where white-tailed deer were underpopulated. Back in the early 1900s, bag limits were a thing, so hunters used to shoot the deer to not only eat them, but also to keep them off their agricultural crops. Since then, hunting regulations have included bag limits and season limits to save the white-tailed deer populations. These recovery practices have worked so well that the white-tailed deer population has even reached up to 3 million throughout the nation. White-tailed deer are within the order Artiodactyl alongside all the other even-toed ungulates. Other species within this order include elk, moose, bison, camels, giraffes, and even orcas. Yes, I know that orcas look nothing like the other species within this order, but did you know that the orca's ancestors actually used to have hoofs? Before selecting the ocean to be their full-time home, orcas actually used to live both on land and in water. But when they decided that the prey sources within the ocean were more valuable than the prey sources on land, they made the full conversion to trade their legs for flippers, kind of like a reverse aerial. Some of the statistics concerning the white-tailed deer are a little more interesting than you think. Did you know that the white-tailed deer can run anywhere from 20 to 30 miles per hour? And that a baby fawn only 5 days old can actually outrun a man? They even will sometimes swim away from predators if running isn't the best option, and they can swim up to 13 miles per hour. They also are known to jump over fences as tall as 10 feet high, and are always on high alert to hear nearby predators and can rotate their ears 180 degrees to hear both predators in the front and the back. But with all those superpowers aside, the white-tailed deer actually has really poor color vision. Within their eye, they have more rods and cones, meaning that their color perception is weak, but they can see best in the light and the dark. This is why you typically see deer at dawn and dusk. They are what you call crepuscular. During this time of day, color doesn't really serve a purpose, but instead you want as much light receptors in your eyes as possible to see everything. White-tailed deer favor rods so much over cones that they actually can't see shades of green, red, or orange, hence why hunters wear safety orange to allow other hunters to see them but not let the deer see them. During the day, when vision isn't so great, deer will actually use their olfactory senses or their nose to locate unusual scents. While humans only have 5 million olfactory receptors, deer will actually have 30 million receptors themselves. This is why they can smell things up to 3 miles away. To use this to their advantage, deer actually have 8 different glands within their body that secrete different hormones depending on what they're trying to communicate with the rest of the herd. The most commonly known one is the tarsal gland. This gland is actually a patch of hair that is stiffer and denser than the rest of the fur. Underneath the hairs are a series of fat patches that secrete oils, which allows more scent to stick to the gland. During the rut, bucks will pee over this gland in order to leave their scent where others can smell it. This scent will not only allow other bucks and females to know where this particular buck is, but establish what the sex of the deer is, how dominant they are within the group, and how healthy they are for breeding season. Another important gland is the interdigital gland. This gland is found within the deer's toes and will actually leave scent within its tracks. This allows the deer to find each other as mates and also keep the subspecies that herd together. During breeding season, if a female doesn't find a mate via smell, they will actually use their ears to locate their mates. During the rut, male deers, or bucks, will clink their antlers together in an act called sparring. Sparring only occurs during the rut because antlers aren't the same as horns, and deer actually will shed their antlers every single year. During the growing period, deer will have what's called velvet, and the antlers will appear to be fuzzy. During this period, antlers can grow so quickly that 1 inch can be grown during one singular day. Antlers can fall off during sparring, or after the rut, they will fall off in order to make room for next year's rack. Some small mammals, such as rodents, are even found chewing on these shed antlers in order to get their source of calcium. In addition to growing antlers for the rut, deer will actually prepare for winter by growing their winter coat. What is unique about their winter coat is that the hairs are actually hollow. These hollow hairs will serve the same purpose as a double-paned window and trap air within the hairs to keep them warm. The air within the hair will have a chance to heat up and stay close to the deer to keep them warm and keep the cold air away from the deer. Another tactic they use in the winter to keep warm is that they actually will begin to bed or rest more during the winter in order to preserve their energy. They will even defecate in bed in order to save time and will only get up in order to pee and to eat. White-tailed deer have the same number of teeth as adult humans. They have 32. But some deer have a thing called ivory. And before you say that only elk have that, there actually have been studies to show that there is a 0.001% chance that white-tailed deer can have ivory. This is most commonly found within the southern states, although it is documented all the way up to North Idaho. Ivory are made of the same thing as walrus, wild boar, and elephant tusks, and are located and used to serve the same function as our canines. The ancestors of white-tailed deer and elk are actually predicted to be omnivorous and consume a little bit of meat alongside their mostly herbaceous diet. This is why they had their canines, in order to help kill their prey species. Researchers believe that ivory used to be a couple of inches long, but it now receded into what we call vestigial organs. While it's uncommon for the deer species within North America to have ivories, it is actually fairly common within China and Korea. They have what's called a water deer, also given the nickname vampire deer. This species of deer is found within the same family as our white-tailed deer, Cervidae, and actually still has ivory that extends past their mouth, sticking out as little fangs. According to the fossil records, ancestors believed that deer originated in Europe and Asia and crossed into the Americas via the Bering Strait land bridge. Ever since then, the species of white-tailed deer has thrived here ever since, and has even become the state mammal of Georgia. And that is all the time we have left for this Mammal Monday. I hope you all enjoyed and got to learn something new about this well-known species. Again, thank you all so much for your love and support on all of these episodes, and I'll see you next week. Bye!